Hello, and welcome to today's midday meditation. I am so glad that you are here today. And as always, when we come together here, what we're building here is this opportunity or this moment to break the momentum of whatever it is you were doing before, whatever it is you're up to later. Here in this moment, we are just present, just here. And I am so glad that you have chosen to take this time to pause with me. And so as we get settled, get nice and comfortable in your seat, I want you to really be able to feel that support or that which is supporting you, and let your body just settle into it. This is a place to release or relieve some of that extra effort that you might be holding. And we can start this process by releasing that extra effort in the body into that which is supporting us. And then as you close your eyes, if it is safe for you to do so, we can relieve that need for the sense of sight to be taking for us so much sensory impression. Allowing then the mind to also settle and pause and relax into that which is supporting it. And where the body goes and the mind goes, the energy will follow. And here we just introduce a good couple breaths, just feeling with each big inhale and long, slow exhale, a little of that extra effort releasing. And as we pause here together, I always love to add in a little contemplation, a little observation, or something that kind of just aligns to what we're doing here together, or what is happening seasonally. And it is really intended to give your mind a little something to settle on, because it will seek to become involved again with all of that momentum that it had previously been involved with. So to break that cycle, we'll give it a little something calmer, more nature inspired, and more introspective to do. And so this past week, I've really been thinking about this time of year. In particular, last week, we celebrated the Summer Solstice, the longest day of the year. And that combined with, in my part of the world, the last kind of school day for many people, we had coming together these symbols of the beginning of summer, celebrations of the beginning of summer, and kind of this turning point or milestone. Graduations happened over the last couple weeks. It's a time of real change, transition. But over the last few days, over the last week, I found myself thinking about it a little differently. And you can go back into my videos and see what I talk about as it relates to the solstice and the solstices and the changing of the seasons, the equinoxes as well, these markers throughout the year, how they really just kind of plot throughout the year, the timings or the shifts in energy in nature. But they are really just kind of calendar points, and nature doesn't work like that. It gives us an indication of things that are happening, but nature has a predictable path, but also her own path. And so the solstice, or even the end of the school year, doesn't really mark the beginning of summer any other way than as a marker on the calendar. And just like in nature, I do believe that summer actually begins when the energies shift, or when we decide that we are ready or that we will enter it. And so I'd like to spend a few minutes today reflecting on that together. Now, one of the things I love about Ayurveda is that it teaches us to observe nature first. Right? Whatever's happening in nature, that is also happening within, if we can pause and reflect or catch it or witness it, and we have time to observe it. Because nature doesn't rush. It doesn't wake up one morning and decide, okay, today's summer. It doesn't turn the calendar and say, oh, where are we? Okay, it must be summer now. It actually transitions little by little. The light changes, the air changes, the birds change, the plants change. And eventually, when you look around, you realize that everything has shifted. Right? But it unfolds like the opening of a leaf or the opening of a flower, moment by moment, little by little. And I think it really is such a beautiful example of how things transition, how things unfold. And when we regard it, when we observe it, I do think we have this beautiful invitation by observing nature to allow that to happen with us. But what happens usually is that we get busy. And in particular in the spring, I think we really carry that momentum of that spring. And in fact, we carry it right into the rushing into summer because, gosh, we wait long enough for it, right? But we have all of the projects. We do that rushing around, that busyness, the commitments, the mental lists, the habits, the new things that we do in the summer, the pace. And I don't know how often we ask ourselves, is this how I actually want to spend the season? You know, I've spent many a summer wishing that it would slow down. I've spent many a summer wondering how it got to be July or August or September so quickly. And I've spent many an autumn or September wishing I had got more done or enjoyed it more. It's over in a blink. And one of the phrases I use a lot lately, in even describing myself, and not just lately, I think this is something that I've innately known for a very long time, because we all have our unique perspective and our unique gifts. But I believe that one of my superpowers is helping people be able to see the forest through the trees. And in particular, when we're standing inside stress, when we're standing inside busy, overwhelmed, urgent, rushing, everything around us feels like a big deal. It feels urgent. It feels important. Everything demands our attention. And sometimes we find ourselves looking around and feeling like we're standing in a big forest with no kind of clear path through. Everything feels like a big tree or a big hill or just a big deal, right? A big deal. And in particular, in the middle of all of that, right, when you're looking around and seeing all of these big obstacles or big things to be done, it's like you can't see the path through it. And in that thick forest, it's hard to even see very far ahead of you, right? It's like tree, wall of trees everywhere you look. So you can't see that far ahead. But, the interesting thing is the path usually is there. It's usually just beyond. It's usually visible from a slightly different perspective, but it's really, really hard to see when you just see a wall of trees around you. And sometimes it's because we're just standing too close to everything. Our perspective is hiding what might be clearer or more obvious with some distance. And sometimes in that situation, all we really need is to stop for a minute, right? You can't kind of plow forward or go from one tree to the next, kind of looking for the path. You sometimes just need to stop, to break that momentum, to take a breath, to close the eyes like we did here, to break that sensory impression or the flow of impressions, to shift our perspective, to change our perspective. And this week I had a similar example, a similar experience. It is the first week of summer. It's the first weekend of summer according to the calendar, and there is a lot going on, and there is a lot to do. There's more to do as we kind of expand beyond the walls of our homes into our outdoor spaces. And I was doing some of that busy work, if you will, getting things ready, beautifying my outdoor space. And there is a certain kind of momentum or busyness that carries. And so I had spent the morning kind of in my garden planting. I actually had spent earlier that morning kind of time in the garden center, brought everything home, wanted to get it planted, wanted to get it watered, so that it has a good chance to become established and to be beautiful. It's certainly, some busy work and seasonal things and, things that have to be done. But then after it was done, right, I had the chance to actually just kind of sit down and to relax, put my feet up. I was flipping through a magazine, kind of looking occasionally at the beautiful pots I had created and the flowers I had planted. And, I just happened to glance up into the sky. We have this gorgeous tree in our backyard, this big, beautiful maple. And I love kind of looking up at the sky, past the trees, and lo and behold, what was peeking out from behind the tree was this heart-shaped cloud. It was kind of one half of the heart was emerged, and the other half of the heart was just kind of making its way from from behind the tree. No kidding, like a full heart. It was quite incredible. And now, like I said, that one half of the heart had emerged, so maybe it had been there for a while. But I don't know about that, right? I do believe that when we take time to stop and to look at things and to look at nature, there are things that come into our awareness that are just because of that moment, just because we happen to glance and meant just for us. And it wouldn't have happened, though. What really struck me is it wouldn't have happened if I had kept my head down if I had even kept kind of looking at the work that I had done, looking at what I had planted, contemplating, do they need more water? Does that look right? Did I space them right? If I hadn't have stopped, if I hadn't have taken that break, if I hadn't had paused, how many moments, how many opportunities, how many beautiful messages from the universe, how many beautiful little reminders do we miss because we are constantly looking at the next thing? How many times do we miss the path that was clearly there, that we were just too busy or too preoccupied or too caught up in our perception to notice? And so that is the contemplation I want to kind of share with you or leave you with today. I want you to think about or feel, when we are given the opportunity to find the path of ease, when we are given these opportunities to see the beautiful messages of the universe, the clear path, the heart-shaped cloud. When we stop relying on a moment or the date and a calendar to tell us what comes next, but really kind of lean into what we feel and what we need. So I'd like you to really kind of think about the following 3 things, and you don't have to answer them right now. Maybe just carry them with you, either as you extend this pause or this meditation into your own space, or as you come back to it later. I want you to really contemplate, what does this summer, or what do I want this summer to feel like? And not because of the date in the calendar, and not because of the commitments or social engagements or jobs to do that you have. It's not about what you want to accomplish, how much you can fit in. Simply, how do I want this season to feel? And second, now that you've had this experience of breaking the momentum of pausing, there's this opportunity to then take that path or see that path that is clear, because you are no longer obscured by the trees in the way. What are you carrying, or what are the trees that you had thought were in your way that no longer serve you? What is the pace that you have been carrying from momentum that you would like to release, leave behind? And finally, the third question I would ask is, what is the one small change that you could make today or this week that would move you one step closer to that summer feeling that you desire? It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul. You don't need to rip up your calendar and start again. One little step. One little step. And so we're going to finish today, or leave today's meditation, by taking a nice, big, slow, deep inhale. And as you release that breath with a long, slow exhale, You can repeat that a few times on your own. Big, long exhale, long, slow. Big, long inhale, long, slow exhale. Just feel into exactly where you are. You can repeat that breath as many times as you like, as many times as you need. Where are you right now? Feel yourself right here, right now. Not the list, not the schedule, not the calendar. Notice the chair supporting you. Notice your breath. Notice the sounds around you. Maybe the space between your thoughts. And maybe today, when you leave this meditation, you'll remember to look up. Maybe there'll be that heart-shaped cloud waiting for you. Or maybe, and most likely, there will be a beautiful message from the universe or clear path that is all yours, with ease, with calm. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for being here as always. I wish you a beautiful beginning to your summer. Namaste.